Hey y'all, and welcome back to a new video of a game that I played today where I got up to a new peak of 2273, putting me in the top 4,000 players in the world in Rapid on chess.com. So, we're just gonna get into the chess. That's what you're here for. My opponent starts off with e4, and normally what I used to play against e4 was the Caro Kann. I used to play this all the time with this line. This is the Caro Kann. I used to play that all the time. But what ended up happening is that a lot of the positions got very dry and aren't very good for tournament games. So I decided to quit out from it, and now learning the Sicilian defense. So bear with me for the opening. I go c5. My opponent goes knight f3. I go knight c6. We know the opening so far, but as you'll be able to tell, the opening gets pretty bad pretty quickly. My opponent goes bishop b5, and I don't really know any way else to play this opening, so I just play d6 because I don't know any other theory besides this setup. Bishop takes c6, bc6. My opponent goes h3, preventing bishop g4, but it's a little bit of a rushed move and not a very good one. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the normal thing that I do, and the type of Sicilian that I'm learning is the dragon, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fianchetto my bishop because this is what I have to do, which is not the right way of playing, but I'm learning. So I go g6. What I could have done here, I could have simply taken the whole center and been a touch better for like the rest of the game, because I control this square very, very well, and white is actually pretty bad here. But instead, g6, my opponent castles, and I follow up g6 with bishop g7, of course. My opponent goes d3. Not the best move, and what I could do here is play this move e5, and then I'm a lot better because d5 square is control. I'm a touch better. This engine doesn't say so, but I say so, and I outrank the engine, of course, with my very exalted 2273 rating. So, either way, there are some interesting lines here. Like my opponent can try for this with c3, but I think that technically speaking, black is doing pretty well here after normal simple developing moves knight f6 here and h5 or something, and white should probably be black should probably be doing quite well. But instead I go knight f6 because I didn't really see the idea. I'm like, I'm just gonna develop my pieces. And my opponent plays a move that I had been dreading, and I realized that this move existed like right after I played knight f6, and I'm like, wait, that move is really, really scary. The move he plays is e5. Now what this does, now I can't play e5 myself, which was like the point of playing e5 was stop e5 and stop d4. But the issue here is that if I take this pawn, which would probably be a losing mistake, look at my pawn structure. I got this terrible doubled pawn island over here on the c file, and I do have a little bit of development with moves like queen d6, I thought, but my position is bad. My position is bad. There's no sugarcoating it. My position is just bad. Either way, after e5, I realized this, and I'm like, okay, I gotta try and go for something here. And I went for knight d5 after a little bit of a think. And the idea was after ed, I would have to take back with the e pawn, of course, since these pawns would be not an island anymore. And after the move rook e1, which I was obviously looking at, this is what I was scared of here. The question is, which piece do I block with? And it's a very tough choice. If I block with the bishop, I thought that he could play this move knight to g5, and I'm not really comfortable with giving up my light squared bishop and possibly giving up like my f pawn defense of my king. So I didn't go for that one, and I thought that knight e7 would be a little bit trickier for him to attack, because after this move bishop g5, I have this move f6, and although I lose my f pawn square, it's okay. I can castle quickly, and there's no real threats on the light squares here because he doesn't have a light squared bishop. So I thought for a little bit, and I played the move knight e7, which is the wrong move. I got to go bishop e6 and just allow him to trade knight for bishop here, because I have this nice move knight c7 that I missed. And like after he would take this, I would recapture with the knight. He has no more attackers he can put on the knight because it's defended with a pawn. And then I'm just going to castle, and my position is actually really, really good. but I didn't realize that. And so I played knight e7, and he immediately played a move that I didn't look at, which was this move queen e2, and I realized, you know what, I'm in some serious trouble here. I'm in some serious trouble. If I play bishop e6 now, first of all, he's not technically attacking the knight because my queen and my king defend it, but I really want to castle, right? This is the whole point. I really, really want to castle, and he's preventing me from doing so. So I thought if I played bishop e6, cutting off the lane of attack to my knight, then he would get like some serious play with this move knight g5 again, because there's no way for me to defend that pawn in any case. Like if I castle, he's just gonna win a pawn now, and that's no bueno, no bueno, no bueno, no bueno. So I thought for a little bit, and I decided to play this very interesting move, rook b8, which wasn't right. If I wanted to go with this idea, I probably should have played the move a5, but I played rook b8, which was a two-pronged idea. First of all, my rook is getting onto like the semi-open file along with my bishop and causing some ruckus, right? That's always good to cause a little bit of issues for my opponent. But the main idea was actually to go rook b7 and defend my knight laterally, which is kind of a crazy idea, but I thought, you know what, this is gonna work. My opponent goes knight c3, and the reason why a5 would be a better working of this idea here, because now I'm going to go rook a7 and do that, and the rook on the b file isn't that good, in all honesty. Man, Duolingo is going crazy right now. When I said rook b8, knight c3, and I went with my plan, rook b7, defending the knight and coming over here. But as you can see, this is a pretty terrible mistake, and I'm not doing too well. This isn't going the way I wanted it to go. But we play on. My opponent goes bishop g5, and I didn't think that long. I play the move f6. Again, not a good move. h6 is a lot better here. h6 is a lot better because after bishop e7, rook e7, and all these trades, actually black is on top because black has the bishop pair, which is just a nice principle in chess. If a person has the two bishops and your opponent doesn't have either the two bishops or no bishops, in this case my opponent just has knights, then the side with the two bishops is normally better in like all endgames, which we're in now since the queens are traded and a lot of the pieces are. But I didn't realize that, so I played f6, pretty natural move, bishop bf4, and I played castles. Okay, my idea came to fruition, but why is it 1.5? Why is this position 1.5 winning for white? Well, it's because of the move knight e4. My opponent plays knight e4. It's shockingly hard to defend this pawn. I can't play this move because after bishop e6 takes, he takes the knight for free since my rook stops defending it. And I would have to, if I played something like this, I would simply drop the c5 pawn. So what I would have to do after the move knight e4 is play knight f5 and then like g4, and then I'm just worse. I'm just worse in like all these lines. If I try to attack the knight, knight simply takes on c5, hits the rook, and I'm gonna lose the game. So I can't do that. But my opponent misses it. He goes rook a b1. What the hell does that move do? What in the world does that move do? I'll give you a hint. Does nothing. That move does absolutely nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to play the move that I wanted to play. My knight's like under pressure, and I want to move my queen and my rook. Okay, let's go knight f5. And my position is fine. My position has graduated from being terrible to being half decent, because it's a little bit tricky for my opponent to play here. And if they didn't waste a time on that move rook ab1, they would probably be winning this game. But instead, my opponent did that, and now I'm back in the game. My opponent goes knight e4 though. Threatening the move g4 and winning this pawn. Okay. Understand. I play the best move though. Play rook e7. Now the knight is pinned to the queen. Okay, very reasonable move. But my opponent still plays the move g4, and it's actually very, very scary. I thought here for a while. Actually, I thought on the last move for a while. I thought while he was thinking for those 20 seconds, and I didn't find a good response to G4. I thought that I was worse, but I'm not. I'm actually much better after the move knight d4. But the reason why I was scared of this is because after something like takes, I thought that this move bishop d6 could happen, skewering my rooks, defended by the knight. If I take with the queen because of this pin, well, I'm losing my queen, so it doesn't matter. I'm just down in exchange now. That's not good. What are we doing? What are we doing? But I miss a pretty easy tactic. After like, that's the move I played. Oh my gosh. After like knight d4, takes, I can just take on e4, hit the queen, and then I got 2 pieces for the rook. How did I miss that? This isn't like the hardest thing in the world. This is like natural tactics. Very disappointed in myself. Very, very disappointed in myself after this game. But, so lo and behold, we still play on. And after g4, I thought of an idea. I thought of this move d5. And I'm like, okay, when you take my knight, I'm going to take your knight. It's a trade. It's a knight trade. What can be more natural? My opponent takes my knight, and I take their knight. Okay. But the issue with this, as you can see, is my structure. My structure is awful. My structure is terrible. And what I thought they had to do was FG, HG. Now my king is kind of weak. I know their king is also kind of weak with this pawn hanging. But realistically, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. If I, it's white's turn. After DE, bishop H3, material is balanced, but the only person who's getting attacked here is probably black, since of this F area and the fact that like king here, rook here, something like that over on the H file. So I'm worse. But he doesn't take on FG. He goes DE, which is actually the top engine move. But I thought this move gave black a lot more chances, because now my king isn't being opened up, and I have this nice move, bishop f5, right? Can't take because I win his queen. And after this check, I thought, okay, I'll go bishop e6, he'll take on c5, he'll be up a pawn, but what I have here is a lot better than a pawn. What I have is an increased amount of pressure over on his king side, and I can quickly mobilize my pieces over there. A nice move here is this move queen d7. Actually it loses, but like, just to show you, after the move bishop d6 looks like he's skewering my rooks, I can take on h3 and he gets mated in this line. Like, it gets absurd. It gets kind of crazy. So he does that. He takes on c5, and I'm like, okay, I realize that queen d7 doesn't work because of like any of this hitting the queen, and then he wins the rook. So we're not going to do that. So I play this move rook f8. Okay, you can take this pawn too, but now I take on h3, and I have pressure over here. So it's really not cut and dry, and it looks like black has an edge here, even though white is up for a small portion, 2 pawns. He doesn't do that though. He goes rook bd1. Reasonable. He's targeting my queen, making me move. I go queen c8, and now I have this pressure, and I have this defense of this pawn. And my opponent goes bishop d6, and I'm winning the game with the same tactic that I showed you earlier. Bishop h3, and I very well would have won this game right here on move 23, and it would be over. I'm not up a pawn, but I'm about to be. This pawn is hanging. And after a move, what does he play? Queen c4 check is the top engine move. Here, that's a very nice move because I have to come back. But, for example, after takes, again, I have this checkmate here, and mate, right? So, I would be a lot better after bishop h3, but I don't play that. I miss it. We're all human, we all miss things. Some people miss things less than other people, and that's why they're better at chess than other people. But in this position, I miss it, and I go with the move that I thought was very, very smart, rook b7. I'm like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm targeting this pawn, and my main idea is to go rook c5 and lift my rook over to this way, and then take here, and then mate you over here. That's my idea. And now I finally see the idea of bishop h3. This is when I started seeing the idea. I'm like, whoa, I had that move. What am I doing? I'm an idiot. I should be punished. No, not my exact like thoughts, but you know, along those lines. h4. And if I play this move bishop h3 now, I thought that there's no point, right? Because the bishop comes back and he doesn't like move anywhere. So I'm like, that's a waste of a move. And I was thinking, if I take here, that doesn't look correct either, because now he gets like some big attack here. Like if I take here, I thought that there was some like very strange ways to continue the game for white. I don't actually know what I was thinking about. Okay. No, I'm just an idiot. I should have taken on b2. But I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I played a move that I thought was also pretty natural. This move, bishop g4, targeting the knight, and I want to bring my queen over there, and I'm also pinning it, so it's a little bit awkward. It's still equal because his pawn is hanging and his knight is hanging, and he can't guard both. But this wasn't the smartest plan in the world. My opponent goes rook d3. I'm kind of forced to take on f3, and after rook takes f3, I make a really, really stupid mistake. I was a little sick today. I'm gonna preface this by saying I was a little sick today, but really it's not the biggest excuse, because I played queen g4, and I'm an idiot. I'm a real stupid head, because rook g3, and I'm, what am I doing? I thought here that I would take this pawn, but I lose after queen c6, forking the rooks. They can't defend each other because the bishop takes. And I'm like, whoa, that's not good. I'm losing this game. And I realize, okay, I guess I gotta go back now. And I retreat back to d7. And now I've wasted time. His rook is in a better position, attacking my king. And I'm worse, again. But with the queen coming on d7 instead of c8, I now have the option of going rook c5 without this pawn hanging, which is a big issue. And now rook c5, the bishop is actually almost stuck, and it has a hard time of where the queen wants to go. If queen goes here, I might have like this move, for example, hitting the queen. The bishop is pinned, and like there's lots of interesting tactics. We might have to go over here, but then it's just offsides for the rest of the game. Sorry. My opponent goes h5, desperately trying to attack my king, but now after the move rook b5, now the tables have turned, because my opponent has like a couple of moves to survive here. I thought queen a3 was almost forced, because I hadn't calculated yet, but I thought queen d4, there was like some issue here with like f5. I thought that after e5 there's like something here. I mean, there's got to be something here. Look at this position, right? Like I thought black was winning here. I'm wrong, but I just thought there was no way that black wasn't winning. My opponent didn't play that. He played the best, but we played queen c4 check. But I was like, okay, after king h8, what do you even have here? What's even the idea and purpose of this move? Because now it's just over. Your bishop is hanging, and if you go all in on my king, I don't think there's anything there. And my opponent thought that he was worse here. But he's not. If he just brought his bishop back to c5, he'd probably win this game. But instead he went all in. Instead, after he moved king h8, which is a big mistake, by the way, I had to go queen e6 and go for these interesting trades and just trade down into a draw after like rook d1, rook h4 or something. I had to like trade down into a draw, but whatever. King h8, and my opponent went all in, and it almost works. It's very, very scary. He goes hg, and I realize, okay, my opponent is sacking the bishop. If I take this pawn, I obviously lose after not that move, but after like any move, like bishop c5, like a rook here is kind of scary. After here. How is that not the... Oh, I just completely missed rook h5. That's pretty pretty funny. But it gets a little scary, and I realize, okay, if I just lazily recapture, I'm probably losing the game. I got to take the bishop. So I take the bishop. And my opponent is still playing on. And he misses one of my ideas, but I don't think he misses a long string of tactics, and this only works due to like some insane lines. My opponent goes rook h3. And I thought that this was a very smart idea. This was a very, very smart idea. If I can't take this pawn because he obviously takes my king, and I thought if h6, I thought that I was losing somehow. Like I thought there was like some way that he could bring his queen in and like mate me. Like here, if I go rook g8, he wins here. I was scaring myself with these lines, but I'm okay after a move like rook e7 or queen e7, probably queen e7, and I'm fine. But I realize, wait, isn't the pawn just hanging? And I go rook g5, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna win your pawn. But I missed the tactic here. I missed a very, very scary tactic. He goes king f1. He goes king f1. And I missed this insane tactic. My opponent, after I take the pawn, goes queen f7. And I'm like, whoa. Oh no. Oh no, it's over. Oh no, I've lost the game. I've lost the game. Because my rooks are both hanging. They can't defend each other. I'm just going to lose a rook. I'm just going to lose a rook. There's nothing I can do. But I keep my head, and I realize I got very, very lucky here. I got very, very lucky. I didn't see this at all. I was looking for checks and anything. I got very, very lucky, and I found the only move. This move, queen e6. Defending this rook, and after he takes on a g6, now I take this rook on h3. Very lucky that I had that move. Like, it's very... I cannot stress how lucky it was that I had this move. But... I mean, it's incredible that I actually managed to get this, and at the end of the day, the rest of this game is pretty easy. This game goes on for another 40 moves. We're gonna go through it a little bit quicker, but I'll still talk you through some ideas. Queen g2. There's still a lot of work to be done. I go queen e6. Try to centralize my queen. Rook d8. Take the file. I go c5, trying to go c4. Trade rooks. I go bishop f8 because he was threatening. Like if I move my, not there obviously, but if I move my queen somewhere, he just mates me, for example. So he's threatening like some weird stuff like that. So I got to be a little bit careful. So I just drop my bishop back to f8. Now there's no more checks. If he comes back down there, I can just go queen e7 or something. And I go c4. I trade, get my pieces out, trade the queens when it's necessary. I thought that now was a good time. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I should have gone here. I absolutely should have gone here. That was with check. I'm just an idiot, but whatever. I had 2 minutes on the clock. He has a minute. And I try to win this endgame. It's a little bit complicated because his pawns start going. And it gets a little scary here, and I have to find only moves. Like c5, he's 3 squares away from promotion. I have to bring my king. If I don't bring my king, I just thought I lost. So I had to bring my king, sack this, bring my king over here. And after king g4, I thought the only move was bishop f6, defending the pawn, stopping these pawns. And now this is pretty simple, but there is still one little trick he has here. After b5, king c7, here, my opponent goes back to g4. I probably should have gone with this move h6. I mean, actually, a6 is a draw. Oh, right, because it's the wrong corner square. I couldn't do that, so I play this move bishop d8. Intending to take this pawn because I couldn't take it beforehand because that defended, but he was still trying. King h3 takes... f6. I can't take that pawn because then he promotes, so I have to take on c6 here, and I'm luckily able to stop it with bishop e7. And then at the end of the day, the corner square is the right color, so I'm just able to win and make a queen over here, and my opponent resigns in this position with 9 seconds on their clock and down 12 points of material. So that was this game. I got to 2273. Global rank 3,900, which is genuinely incredible. I remember when I first got over the 10,000 range because I love checking my global rank. It's like an addiction at this point. I remember when I got down like under the 10,000 range, and I was ecstatic. That was over 100 points ago. I mean, I've honestly come so far, and I'm just I'm gonna hit 2,400 soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys found it entertaining. If you guys did, remember to like, subscribe, do all the normal things YouTubers tell you to do. And yeah, that's all I got for you today. Good evening and good night.